So, our activity this week is weather forecasting, and we're going to be focused on three specific things: minimum temperature, maximum temperature, and sky condition slash weather type. So, if it's going to be cloudy, say it's cloudy. If you think it's going to rain or snow, say it's going to rain or snow. This is over a 24-hour period, so you're forecasting for a specific day, the full day. It is due the day before that, so take that into account. You don't want to forecast for a Monday on the Tuesday before. As we talked about with chaos theory, your accuracy is not going to be particularly good. So, this is one of the few assignments that I'm pretty strict on due dates and turning things in on time. Please turn this in on time. Pay attention to the due date. I try to maintain the same forecast date for everyone because that allows me to be fair about how I grade things. Please check the due date, focus on it, and make sure you turn things in on time. So now we can talk about what's involved in the forecasting. So like I said, minimum temperature, maximum temperature, sky condition, and weather type. So I'm going to go over what information you're given, some constraints to consider, some exceptions to those constraints, which may come up, and rules and processes for kind of how to attack this problem. And then there's also supplemental information. You'll have National Weather Service. You can get information from numerical weather prediction computer forecast models. Those will be available as well in the links in Blackboard. So, again, consider minimum temperature, low temperature. Maximum temperature, high temperature. We've gone over this throughout the class. It's just now you're doing it for yourself, for a specific location, and trying to predict the future. And then sky condition, you can say cloudy, partly cloudy, clear, and then just be clear if you think it's going to rain, if you think it's going to snow. If you think some other type of precipitation, absolutely by all means. If you think it's going to be a beautiful day and there's not going to be any precipitation, you can say that as well. So, given information, you will have the past 24 hours of observations. This can be useful for figuring out trends, seeing what's happened recently, and how things might change. You will have climatology, the past data for the specific day, and what the general temperatures are, and what the weather is like. You can look at the satellite loop. You can look at a weather map. You can see if systems are moving in, if cloud cover is moving in, if just anything might be happening, and this is a great way to track warm and cool air systems, basically with the weather map. If you see something moving in, that's going to impact your temperatures. And then you can also look at various forecast models. So, going over this, minimum temperature, constraints. Remember back to our moisture discussions. Low will be greater than or equal to the dew point temperature. Unless the dew point has a reason to go down, frost forms, dew forms, something like that, then it can go lower than that. But if you know that, like day before, that the dew point is a specific set number, don't generally choose a low below that number unless you expect frost formation or a particularly clear night. The low will almost always be less than today's high temperature. It's unlikely that the temperature will just continue to go up and up and up. It can happen, but it depends on the conditions. And you need to take that into account. And almost never forecast a record low. Records are pretty rare. They aren't consistently broken. Unless you know a massive system is moving in that's going to cause it to be extremely cold, not worth forecasting that. So, what are the rules and processes involved? Look at the past day's worth of data, the days leading up to it. Look at the trends and rates of change. Is the temperature dropping rapidly? Is it increasing rapidly? Pay attention to that. That will help you choose your minimum temperature. Look at weather maps. Is warm air moving in? Is cold air moving in? Look at the satellite loop. Are clouds moving into the area? That directly impacts the radiation. So if you have if you have clouds coming in overnight in winter, probably going to be warmer than you expect. Do you have clouds moving in during the day in summer? probably going to be a little cooler than you expect. Maximum temperature works on a lot of similar things. The high will be no higher than weather balloon forecast method. Generally not, if it's dry and windless, that's going to be a very effective way of determining the high. The high will be higher than tomorrow's low temperature. It's unlikely that you're going to have a high that's suddenly extremely, extremely low and lower than the day before's low. Though it can happen. Again, records are rare. Basically, for maximum and minimum temperatures, they're the same things going on. And the same process is involved. Consider the past day, rate of change. Did it suddenly increase rapidly? Do you expect that to continue? Did it decrease rapidly? Do you expect that to continue? Look at weather maps. Track this information. And then for sky cloud conditions and weather type clouds, do you see clouds moving in on the satellite? Is it a front? Or is it just a cloud mass? What's going on there? Are new clouds forming? And then consider how you expect that to move into our area. Alternatively, if it's extremely dry, is it dry enough that you'll have very clear sky conditions? And then for weather type, basically consider what's been happening. Do you expect and whether or not you expect it to continue? If a massive storm just moved through and dumped a bunch of snow and you don't see anything behind it, it's unlikely that it'll continue. And again, consider for snow and temperature, below 32 is snow, above 32 rain. It's generally a good rule to abide by. And again, clouds don't necessarily always have weather associated with them. It could just be clouds. You don't need to say, oh, if there's going to be clouds, there will be precipitation. And again, you will be forecasting for the Dane County Regional Airport, Truax, forecast low, high, Skywind, explain why, and you should give reasons. Give a small group discussion and data review, and then we will have a bit of discussion on that in the final portion of the course.